Rachel Dolezal, if that is her real name, claims to be black. Rachel Dolezal isn't a black woman trapped in a white woman's body. She's a woman trapped in a padded cerebral cell that locks from the inside.
I think with that propaganda.
My mom is about the same complexion as Rachel Dolezal. My mom, however, is black. Both her actual parents were black. It's that simple. Only if you're nuts do you try to make it more complicated than that and insist on dragging others into this ongoing maze of melanin versus mentality. Only people who are nuts want to stay on repeat of assigning color to a behavior. And these same people claim to love MLK, who told you to get over color and look at character. For all that effort Rachel Dolezal went through to appear black, she still missed a key cultural element often expressed in that black culture she has such an affinity with, and that is to keep it real. And that you did not. You faked the funk, and the black culture hates to be lied to, even though too much of the black culture loves people who lie to them. So you're fine, Rachel. Don't sweat it. Notice I'm saying black culture, not black people. I don't even like to say black culture. I prefer urban culture, because to say urban speaks more to characteristics, styles, behaviors, environment, worldviews, etc. that are learned, as opposed to saying black culture, which lends itself to the idea that such things are genetically predisposed. Anyway, blacks, you are being used by the Democrats. They are still using the black plight to gain sympathy votes for other issues. They use you to gain sympathy for people who are crossing the border illegally, which is totally unfair to people doing it honorably and legally. Not to mention, it doesn't make finding work for you much easier. They've attached the desires of the homosexual culture to you. And now it's going even further as they're attaching the transgender culture to you. Black men, many of y'all ain't as hard as you think you are. You're being blatantly emasculated, as the left has made you an essential part of patronizing the culture of male effeminates. As if it wasn't bad enough that too many men in the black community weren't emasculated by the Democrats, who suckered you out of being husbands and fathers. And to further make my point, who are the experts that people like Melissa Harris Perry brings on to bring clarity to the situation of trying to be black and being transgender? More nuts, or should I say fruits? Check it out.
Get me together, Turner.
Thank you so much for having me back.
Of course.
Only a white person could get this much attention for being black.
For being black.
The difference really between what we see with Rachel and what we see with trans folks is that Rachel had to start pretending and trans folks have to stop pretending, right? We see so often that trans folks come into themselves, and Janet Mock always talks about passing as what? Passing as myself. I'm not pretending to be anything. And so I came with 3 tips for allies because...
So by your so-called logic, would that also apply to only a man could get this much attention for being a woman? Are you enjoying the attention you're getting for trying to pass as a woman? Is that what it took for you to get attention? Selling out your manhood? Hey man, what's your great accomplishment? I became a woman. I'm an expert in it, and I put my efforts into convincing people that it's normal. Just treat us like we're your everyday neighbors, even though I want special attention for it. I feel bad for these people because they're being enabled, patronized, and exploited for being a burger short of a Happy Meal. Or should I say some nuggets short? Either way, upstairs or downstairs, the cashier's punching in the order wrong.
There's a certain analog in the idea of taking hormones, that I take estrogen to help feminize myself.
There's a lack of logic here. Why would a person jump through a bunch of surgical, hormonal, and psychotherapy hoops to convince their body that there's something else instead of the therapy that reminds them of what their body already is? These people and their allies are duped by the language of empowerment and think that they are strong in their acceptance of it. Wrong. You're weak in your submission to it. Don't lecture me about not knowing what it's like to have to deal with these feelings. Everybody's got demons that they gotta fight. And grown folks know that the war with demons does not end as long as you're here. We wake up every day and go to bed every night at war with demons grinding against our integrity and our sanity. Nobody is free from that. These people haven't found happiness. They submitted themselves to a false peace with their demons and allowed their demons to literally shape them into whom their demons want them to be. You can see the signature of misery that demons leave all over their face. You can even hear it in their voice. This isn't me judging them. I'm not warranting arrest or fines or corporal punishment. Take that up with Islam. But their behavior is deviant and isn't beyond question. I'm not going to submit to this idea that the only thing I'm allowed to say about this is what can only be enabling to them. No, a huge problem in America is a lack of manhood. And you got people like this promoting the message that forfeiting your manhood is courageous, and they're looking for allies. They've admitted that they want to grow the population of people praising the forfeiture of manhood. We got kids out there growing up without fathers, which is an example of waning manhood. That's a real problem. And you've got these men parading on national television as women. This is why the Bible says effeminate males will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. Because if you're not stepping up and being a man, being an example of selflessness and sacrifice, and not giving in to things that satisfy our selfishness, then hell will overrun the world. Evil ain't afraid to run roughshod over a culture of effeminate men in heels. In fact, evil has already assimilated you and taken you prisoner. And as much as you may think you feel free, you're about as free as the inmate who feminizes himself for the other inmates. And the sad paradox here is that these people are presented as deep thinkers, but their shallow actions contradict this. You want to come off as deep, yet only on the surface you have female appearances. But right under that surface of makeup, no matter how deep you cake it on, it ain't deep enough. You're a dude. Your lifestyle is a deeply shallow charade. And remember, with liberals, you can use the oxymoron of deeply shallow. It's shallow for you to demand to be acknowledged as a woman. It's an insult to real women. And I'm embarrassed for women who encourage this. A man who wants to be qualified as a woman on appearances? You'd think feminists would be really insulted by this. But these guys are just as much of a woman as you are. Minus the menstrual cycle, can't get pregnant, can't nurse. Oh, but most important, it means they can't have an abortion. The most empowering act a woman can perform, mind you, according to you liberals. But I digress. True, some women can't have children, but as females, they're still designed to. The panel, of course, then brings up Bruce Jenner, who's now gone transgender. See what I did there? I got lectured by someone on Jenner while she tried to invoke Jesus, telling me that Jenner has the right to live his life however he chooses. This is true, but this person has a very shallow view of Christianity and acceptance. Jenner considers himself a Christian, and when you choose to be a Christian, then you choose to live for the Lord, not yourself. And if you think that finding freedom is in a sex change, then you totally contradicted your so-called faith and said Jesus can't make me free. Only a sex change can do that. Yeah, I'm a Christian. Now excuse me while I go play God with myself, because I don't think God did a good enough job with me as a world-renowned athletic man worthy of the Wheatie Box cover. As a Christian, Jenner should know that the Bible says to be fruitful, not fruity. And we have to refer to Jenner as a woman, even with the twig and berries. We have to conform to the la-la land of the liberal narrative. And the liberal narrative drags race into this. So just like if Dolezal wants to be black, you got to go along with that fantasy, even though you're supposed to keep it real. But reality asks, if the NAACP doesn't discriminate about who represents them as they claim, then why would Rachel Dolezal have to lie about her ethnicity? She should have been happy to serve with an organization that claims to not discriminate and been content to serve as the ethnicity she actually is. So either the NAACP is lying, or she doesn't really believe the NAACP doesn't discriminate. And then you've got liberals like Matt Lauer trying to add more coals to the situation, suggesting words like blackface to refer to Dolezal. Liberals do not want this to go away. The racial issue is their bread and butter, not just financially, but they feed off the misery it brings, like a vampire that feels compelled to feed on others, while at the same time making them as they are. I'm Alfonso Rachel with ZoNation, and we'll pick this up on the next one. You can even hear it in their voice.